Well, I never noticed it until I was watching one of the shows from last week.
Scott Spears along with you on this Tuesday edition of The Exchange, joined by my buddies Fritz the Night Owl, Marianne Michaels, Charlie Evers. Have a guest who's going to join us in just a few moments. Going to be a fun episode. Before we get into it, though, we do need to mention our sponsors, as The Exchange is brought to you by the Ohio Neck and Back Pain Relief Centers, Scott M. Gray, D.C., across from the Marion Center, between TSC and Kroger. Call 740-386-6580. Night Owl Theater, located on the net at fritzlives.com. For more info, email nightowltv@yahoo.com. And Bucyrus Placemats, to put an ad in, call Wayne, 419-562-8473, located at 116 Wayne Avenue in Bucyrus, located on the net at bucyrusplacemats.com. And now, as we do each and every day, and we're going to do it this Tuesday, we're going to go to my buddy, the elevated Charlie Evers.
Hey, I'm getting up in the world now.
Got off the floor.
I wonder if anyone remembers, too. You know, we look at steam engines nostalgically. Does anyone here remember when the steam engines were phased out of Marion?
I don't remember that.
1956, I think that was the last one. And prior to that, steam engines pulled passenger or freight trains that had, every now and then, a car said, route of the Phoebe Snow.
What's the Phoebe Snow?
Phoebe Snow. Well, let's see. Phoebe was Warren G. Harding's mother, but this was a different Phoebe Snow. She wore white dresses. The Erie Railroad burned hard coal, which had no soot to speak of. And Phoebe, her dress never tarnished. She always had a white dress because the Erie was so cleanly.
Did she have a white dress for the traditional reason?
No.
No.
This was all show.
Oh, gotcha. Is that all you got today?
That's it.
You left me hanging. I was waiting for more.
Well, I can tell you, the Kinsey Comedy used to play in Marion live shows at the fairgrounds and wherever they could find a vacant lot. Kinsey Comedy was alive with music, drama, you name it, and little boxes of candy that might have a gold watch in.
And where are they now?
They're gone.
No more live performances.
You can find stories about them on the internet.
The Kinsey Comedy.
Kinsey Comedy.
There you go. And now we're going to head on over to our pal Fritz the Night Owl. He's not a member of the Kinsey Comedy, but he does have the flick pick for today. Fritz.
Well, the Owl has a comedy for you today. As I say, it's kind of like radio on television, or radio you can see behind the scenes. So on radio, they can't see my notes here. Movie is called After the Fox, goes back to 1966. Stars are Peter Sellers and movie's first hunk, Victor Mature. Ask your mama, your papa, grandmama, grandpapa about Victor Mature and the original 1 million BC. First guy ever to get the nickname, the Hunk. Anyway, Peter Sellers is an inept thief, so-called master thief, nicknamed the Fox. The guy has been sent to prison 7 times in the last 9 years. Shows the level of his competency. Nonetheless, he gets out and he wants to get $3 million in gold that's being sent from Cairo to Rome. And to do this, he heads out into the desert, finds a director, played by himself, Vittorio De Sica. And during a sandstorm, Sellers and Akim Tomirov, one of the great character actors, they steal all of Vittorio De Sica's camera and movie gear, go to the small town in Italy, pretend that they're going to be making a movie. All the time they're arranging to get this $3 million in gold. Sellers convinces Victor Mature, one-time 40s, 50s, handsome, rugged, leading, adventuring kind of movie star, convinces Victor Mature to be in the film. A Mature who's got a huge ego. I mean, the character, not Vic himself, but the character has a huge ego and demands that he wears the same trench coat and snap brim hat that he wore in all of his 1940 film noir films. And he also wears a girdle and things like that, so he'll keep looking young. Nonetheless, Matura's performance alone as a parody of himself in his earlier days, that alone makes the movie worth watching. Britt Eklund is there for part of the great scenery. Martin Balsam is in it, always a good actor, good thing there. This is the very, very first movie script ever written by Neil Simon. Of course, with Neil Simon as the writer, you know that it's going to be a funny, funny script. Burt Bacharach does the music, so you know that you're going to hear some great tunes in the background. Check it out. I think that you'll enjoy After the Fox, Peter Sellers, and the Big Victor from the movie Head. The Big Victor, Victor Mature.
Sounds like a great movie to take in tonight. Now, before I tell you who this gentleman is sitting in between Marianne and I, we are going to head over to Marianne today because last week she debuted a very interesting segment here, Off the Rack with Marianne Michaels, where she gives us some fashion advice, tips, so on and so forth. I forgot my beret. I just remembered that. She told me last week berets were in. I forgot my beret. I feel terrible. But here is Off the Rack with Marianne Michaels. Marianne?
Well, just a few tips about cosmetics. Less is more. That's something to remember. A lot of people put too much foundation. Women put too much foundation on themselves. What you need to do is just use spots of like around the nose and under the eyes and in the chin to kind of fill in spots that you need to do that with. Obviously, you should put a concealer on before you put the foundation on. Now, the older you are, the less and the lighter foundation. That's why I don't even wear it anymore, because it gets into the wrinkles and it really looks bad. So I don't even wear it anymore. Now, as far as clothing is concerned, have you noticed that some of the starlets and the models will wear these outlandish outfits? I mean, you know, like polka dots with stripes, or, you know, different colors that clash, prints, two different prints all together in one outfit. I personally don't like it, and I know there was a poll taken recently, and most of the people that were polled didn't like that either. But, you know, it's the brave fashionistas that will wear it, and you'll see them in magazines, and you'll see them, you know, these movie stars wearing them. I don't particularly care for it, but it's one of the new trends. You know, I can make a few comments about men's fashions. I don't know if the gentlemen here on the panel know anything about where a tie should look, but men's ties should, the tip of the tie should be right in the middle of the belt buckle. Now, that's easy for people who are, let's say, men who are 5'2" to 6'2" or 6'4", but not 6'4", 5'4" to 6'2", because that would be easy to do. But the person who is too tall, it's not going to be down to the buckle. So good news is you can buy extra long ties if you're really tall. Now, if you're shorter, then you have a problem. But if you buy a tie with a thicker fabric, then the knot is going to be bigger and the tie is going to be shorter. Just a few things. And you know something, the men are so lucky about fashions because they can buy a really good suit today and they can wear it for years, 5, 6, 7 years, because their fashions don't turn over as fast as women's fashions. And I don't know if you realize it or not, but in the ties, did I talk about the striped ties? Because striped ties are really good. And even multicolored striped ties are good. But getting back to the colors, it used to be that a man would never wear pink. Well, right now, pink is very popular for men. Pink shirts and pink ties, really bright pink ties. Green is also very popular. You know, another thing about men, I don't know, when my husband and I travel, He just complains all the time because my suitcases are so heavy. But you know, women have all kinds of different things you have to put in a suitcase. Men might just put in a couple shirts and maybe another pair of trousers, but women have to have purses that match, shoes that match, cosmetics, accessories. So, you know, it's really much easier for a man to be well-dressed than it is a woman. That's it for today, Scott.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
But you know, one of these days, I want to talk about fashions for more mature women like myself. Because all of the fashions are these wild-looking things that look terrible on older people, older women. So one of these days, I'm going to talk about that.
Now let's swing the camera over here to Charlie for a second. Now, this is a fashion don't. Charlie had to change his clothes while you were doing that whole segment. His tie was down past his belt buckle. It was pink. The whole thing was just horrible.
Pink is good.
Pink is good, Charlie. Put it
now.
back on.
Pink is good now.
Yeah, you have to put that tie back on because
And that tie is very attractive, Charlie.
But
There's
it was
nothing.
hanging too
It's
low.
a little bit long.
Oh, it was
a
too
little
long.
long.
It's the
Yeah.
tip of it's supposed to go in the middle of your belt.
I used to sell ties, and this is how I would demonstrate, you know, I'd have to hold
Yes.
up to ladies at Christmas time. Would your husband like a tie like this? And nine times out of 10, I'd end up putting away all 300 ties. I just told him, well, I'll be back, maybe. Oh.
The radio audience just said, "What is he doing?" You
Yeah.
were holding that tie there.
Oh,
Nobody had a
yes.
clue.
Right.
What was that all about? We have no idea. But, oh, by the way, I got a fascinating fact for you. I'm going to steal your bit here, Charlie. Charlie Evers sells Avon. He was trying to sell me Avon during the break there. He pulled out an Avon booklet and was trying to sell me some things.
Well, that's the way it goes.
Well, you do
Yeah.
what you can for a buck nowadays.
Right.
Marian, what do you make of the hat on this gentleman? Is that a fashion do or a don't?
Well, it's Russian, isn't it?
It's a Russian.
I thought it is. Well, it's very attractive. And you look very nice in it.
Thank you.
But I wouldn't wear it indoors.
There you go.
That's another one of my pet
She only
peeves.
said that because she's smaller than he.
Yeah, look at the size difference.
I
You better
know.
watch out. Might get caught
No,
on the
but
way
you
to
know,
the
so
car.
many men wear hats indoors. Now, with Fritz, it's different because that's his signature. He needs to wear his hat.
Sort of
But
like
you know, in a
Batman's is.
restaurant, in a church, you know, men don't take their hats off anymore. I guess I'm old-fashioned.
Well, you go to the movies of the 30s and the 40s, and guys always, like particularly the newspaper or office building things, the guys always had their hats on in the office. In the movies
That's
in
true,
the
they
30s and the
did.
40s.
Yeah, you're right
and
about
so
that.
forth. So,
We're coming back then. It's a retro look.
Well, I heard that fedoras and berets were in. I heard that somewhere.
That's
Last
right.
week on this program, that's where I heard that. Is that just women or men? That's what I was going to ask.
No, it was women.
It was, a man can't wear a beret?
Oh, a man can wear a beret. You can wear a beret because you like berets.
What if my tie hangs below my belt buckle when I have my beret on? Am I like middle of the line?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
well, isn't the beret part of the Army uniform
Well,
now?
sure it is.
Because when I was in it was the overseas cap that we had, but I think they changed in later years to a
And-
beret. So
right, and then the
again,
artists-
berets are
Right.
masculine.
And then artists,
And artists.
male artists wear
Right.
them too.
Artists, I think
Yeah,
you're...
yeah, men can wear berets.
And a beret's a great signature.
Tell
It is.
somebody in special forces that
Yes.
he looks a little bit wimpy because he's wearing a
Oh,
beret.
no.
And find out how fast you can run.
Well, I do want to tell you about the man to my right here. Last Saturday night, I want to tell you something I did. I went over to a wrestling event at the Unkefer Union Hall and did some broadcasting, and I had a tremendous time. You want to have a good time, go over to the Unkefer Union Hall. Once a month, I believe they do it. The next date is May the 28th, 7 p.m. You're going to have a good, affordable time. It's just very enjoyable. And one of the men who wrestled that night was this man right here, Vladik the Russian. Vladik, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How old am I, or how
How are you?
Oh, I'm very good. Now, how did you break into professional wrestling?
Well, in mother country where I'm from, in Russia, I started out wrestling bears when I was 16 years old. Then I came over to the United States, and I met up with the ASWA wrestling school in Mansfield, Ohio. So I started wrestling out there.
Now, you needed to go to school after you wrestled bears?
Yes. because wrestling bears is different than wrestling people. Bears will claw and face. People don't do that as much.
Well, as much. You're exactly right. Now, take me to May the 28th, coming up this month. You're going to be on that big show, correct?
That is correct. I'm facing the big lazy American, Big Jake South.
Big lazy American.
Yes, he's lazy because all Americans are lazy.
Oh, he's making friends everywhere. Charlie, you got something to say about that? Jump in, and let me move out of the way when you say it.
Well, I was just enjoying him.
You were just starting to enjoy this
I
segment.
like his hat.
And now it's all downhill.
It's all right.
Let's talk about the ties to wrestling in Marion, Charlie. You remember this. Used to sell out the Coliseum quite a bit.
They did?
Where were you? You were watching.
Well, I was at the ice skating, the Cleveland Barons, when they played. That was another big one.
Oh, wrestling used to be very
50
big
people
here.
showed up.
They were down in the Coliseum selling that thing out all the time.
Oh, yes.
It's great to go back. Now, why is this guy, Jake South, why is he a problem for you? You obviously don't like the man.
I have no problem with him. I've beat him every time I've wrestled him. In fact, at this promotion, SCW, I am the only undefeated wrestler there. In my first match there, I defeated Big Jake South. In the next match, I faced Izzy Lambert, and I defeated him as well. But I decided to make a statement, as you would say in America, by interfering in Big Jake South and JJ DeVille's match against Maximum Security.
Well, now anybody named Izzy though has got to be a wimp, right?
No, he's fairly good wrestler, just not against me.
Just wasn't up to your par.
No.
Because you've wrestled bears.
Correct.
Right. Marianne, what questions do you have to ask our Russian
Well,
guest here?
what are the biggest challenges you have in a wrestling match?
Biggest challenge is just size difference. I'm tired of wrestling these little boys. Big Jake South is actually close to my size. He bigger, or about same size.
Mm-hmm.
So to have someone my own size to wrestle makes me feel better. Makes me back home in the Russia, like wrestling bear.
Where in Russia? do you come
Volsk. Volsk. It's on the western part of Russia.
from? Okay.
Fritz, you want to weigh in on this one?
I was just curious as to how much training and what kind of training do you do to stay in shape?
In the United States, I've been training. I trained 3 days a week, and then I've been doing this since probably 3 years. I've been training, but I still train even if I do wrestle in the ring. You can never stop training.
Oh, is this running, weightlifting,
Running,
calisthenics, what?
weightlifting, cardio workout, and practicing how to do moves.
How about diet?
I don't have diet yet,
No,
but
but I mean, things
but
you
yes, I do. I watch diet. I try to eat healthy, but everything in America fried. Everything fried here.
Doesn't make it taste good.
Now tell
All
me how
that fat and cholesterol.
America, land of fat and cholesterol. What we want to talk about here is when did you become Americanized to wear a shirt like that with an emblem of an American company?
I just decided I have other Russian clothes, but I figured I at least show some American support, even though I don't like it. Because if I wear other clothes, you would all be confused on what I wear. So
Maybe. Charlie, what do you think?
I was going to say, I had a friend, too, that wrestled at the Coliseum. He wrestled bear. He got 6 months out of it in decent exposure.
Oh, the bear stripped him down.
No, he wrestled bear.
Oh, he wrestled bear. Oh boy, where's the rim shot? Charlie's telling jokes now. Now, when you, Vladik, is that the full name, Vladik?
Vladik Vornov.
Vladik Varnov.
I like
Vornov.
Vladik for a name.
Vladik's
That's
a
a
good-
great name.
What, do you have a middle name?
No, I
No,
don't.
just Vladik Varnov.
Vladik Vornov.
Vornov, excuse me. Now, how is Russia different from America? What's the biggest difference, the biggest contrast?
Dealing with all the rain here.
Oh,
I am used to cold and snow. I prefer cold and snow. I don't like all the rain and all the sunshine. I prefer the cloudy snow of Russia.
well, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a second here to say something into the camera to your friend, the guy you're going to take on, May the 28th, Uncover Union Hall, right here in Marion, Jake South. What do you want to say to him, Vladik? Go ahead.
Jake South, May 28th in Meridian, Ohio. You and I face off in no disqualification match. Loser sings national anthem. I am not singing Star Spangled Banner. You're going to be singing the Soviet national anthem, the most beautiful anthem in the world. When I am done with you, they're going to have to roll you out on stretcher. There will be nothing left of you.
Somebody call Staff Tech. There's going to be a problem on May the 28th here in Marion. Charlie, you'll be there, won't you?
Oh, I wouldn't miss it.
You and
Oh,
somebody's
my.
going out on a stretcher
Oh,
and singing a national anthem.
I mean, Mom, you'd have to hold me down to keep me away.
Make sure you wear your tie properly when you go there.
I will.
Please. We're going to go into the mailbag now here on this Tuesday. I have a 15-year-old son who has dreams of being a surfer. I have spoken to him several times about this, and we feel we need to live in a warmer climate year-round for him to get the practice necessary to achieve this goal. But I don't want to move to a warmer climate. I like the four seasons of Ohio. What should I do? This is Mary in Columbus. Charlie, that's kind of a fastball there. I'm not curveball.
Yeah, I think you should go to Russia.
And surf?
Yes, surf and turf.
They don't have surf in Russia.
Oh, they don't?
No, it's cold.
Oh, the Ural Sea?
Ural Sea.
Ural, U-R-A-L.
U-R-A-L.
Yeah, the
But they don't
mountains
surf
in Ural
there.
Sea, yes.
No,
Mhm.
they don't
Come on.
surf there. No, Charlie, what would you do if you live in Ohio and you want to surf?
I'd pick a spot that I like on the Kukwa Ditch and get a running start, and away I'd go, all the way to Waldo.
There's stuff in the Kukwa ditch, Charlie. By the time you got to
Well,
Waldo,
that-
nobody talked to you.
I'd just skim right over the top.
Skim right over
oh,
the
yeah.
top. Ay, ay, ay. Mary Ann, tell me what you'd do if you had a son, he wanted to be a surfer, that was his goal in life. You didn't want to take him down to the Kukwa ditch. What would you do?
I would try to convince him to have another important sport that he would rather do. Because you can't just up and move to another place just because your son wants to surf. I mean, that's not very practical.
Well, do you think...
I mean, you could take vacations, you could take vacations where there's an ocean, and then that person could, that son could take lessons, and they could do it on vacation. But you can't expect a whole family to move for one boy that wants to surf.
do you think at 15 years of age you're capable of knowing what you want to do with the rest of your life?
No, not really. But I mean, it would be nice for him to be able to surf, but I would say on vacation, yes. But I wouldn't totally pick up the family and move because my one son wants to surf. That's a bit much, don't you think?
I think it's a bit much, but I'm not. It comes into a hard. I don't know how you could get up and leave your job and things of that nature. But I guess what do you tell the child who's 15 who can form opinions that, hey, you're not going to get the practice in?
Well, he sees probably surfing on TV, and he thinks it's very glamorous and very wonderful, but it's not practical for him living where he lives. And maybe they should try to find something else that would make him as enthusiastic as surfing is.
Fritz, what do you do when your child's got a dream, the dream is not plausible where you live? What do you tell him?
Well, if he's 15, I would say save your money until you're 18 and move to California or Hawaii or Australia, wherever they surf. I mean, if it's worth doing, and he wants to do it that much, 3 years of putting money aside ain't a bad price to pay.
How hard is it to tell your child, though, when obviously they're pretty adamant about something that it's not going to happen in the foreseeable
Well,
future?
you take him down to the Scioto River and say, that's about the limit of surf you're going to find in the entire Midwest. You're not going to find it at Lake Erie, you're not going to find it at Lake Superior or Lake Huron. You got to go to California, or as I say, Hawaii, Florida, maybe, wherever they do surfing.
Now, Vladik, is there surfing in Russia?
No.
No. What do you do for a good time in Russia?
The snow, so we do snow skiing, and then just snow skiing, hunting. We do a lot of hunting, of course, a lot of bears up there. So
What brought you to Ohio?
Ohio, it was the only state, I kind of wanted to go to. I heard stuff about it, and I wanted to see if it was really true, and it really is.
So not as bad as you thought it would be?
No, it's worse.
It's worse?
Yes.
Ooh,
I was told Ohio was very good, but I come to Ohio and it's not.
Well, that's not right.
I'm guessing you're not a fan favorite
No,
at these wrestling
I am
events. They
not.
don't cheer you.
They
Just
don't
speak your mind.
understand me.
They don't understand you.
me.
What don't they understand?
They don't understand language of me. I try talking and they always make fun of me and they laugh at me. They don't understand my political views either. I believe in the communist way.
The communist way.
Yes.
Well, that's a step back. Charlie, what do you think of communism?
I don't think anything of it.
Do you-
Absolutely zero.
Zero. Communism is not the way to go. I think we all feel that. But you know what? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. And don't you dare cast the first stone out there in the audience. If you have a question or comment for the mailbag, you can join us on Facebook under the name The Exchange Marion, or email us at irmcommunication@gmail.com. You will be back on Wednesday. Don't forget, May the 28th, Unkefer Union Hall, right here in Marion. Take care.